in this crew battle.
Yeah, the jerseys are out. You're seeing all the college, paraphernalia. We're starting off with Aegis and ZSS. So, Stu, how do you feel about this matchup? It's definitely going to be fast-paced, but who do you think has the advantage here with the footstool looking to get
Oh my goodness! Oh, that was, yeah, you got to be ready with the tech off the stage. You saw Apsara with some absolutely ill intent on the mine, and could have potentially followed up with a delayed boost kick, but not finding it there, and frankly not searching for it either. I would say that being able to rush down with a disjoint puts you at a pretty decent advantage, but also this is ZSS. You're going to make yourself sparse in a lot of ways so that you can stick and move just a little bit easier than most of the cats could.
Yeah, and right now, Aspar is super precise with, all of his hits. He hasn't really, missed a beat at all at the beginning of this match, but Rosie K finally, getting a nair, getting themselves out of disadvantage, but they're still at quite the stock, the percent deficit, so they got to be a little bit more careful when treading around Aspara's very, very good defense.
Yeah, Rosie K, I have to think, would be wise to... gets caught with the back air on the platform, but I would think that Apsara would be wise to consider the spacing between the two characters, simply because, well, obviously you have a sword with which to contend, but we saw on the ledge perhaps a chance to deal out even more damage and take that stock even sooner. After the blazing end wasn't able to connect, and you saw there perhaps a chance to punish for that ZSS either with a tilt or something else. I don't know, as long as you can get inside that, as long as you're shielding some of those bigger commitment options, I think that you have a way to punish without even breaking the bank in terms of the risk-reward cachet that you're building up.
Yeah.
Good back throw.
Yeah, I mean, risks are definitely, being taken accounted of, because we're seeing Aspara, you're talking about a lot of options like, delayed boost kick, all these F-tilts. He's playing a very, very safe game against Rosie K, and I mean, can you blame him in crew battles? You got to keep every stock that you can, and so, unfortunately, he's going to lose that stock to a nair. Rosie K finally getting on the board with that stock, but Aspara trying to answer back quickly, trying to find the second stock as well.
And we'll eventually find it. Got the two stocks apiece going now. Dash attack to send Rosie K off of the ledge. But I mean, you're looking for it now, and just a lot of hitboxes being thrown out by Rosie K, and it's just a little rough if you are Apsara, because you're trying to get in. You don't want to give the Pythra any sort of head of steam. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and missing that punish with the up smash, trying to get that Photon Edge punish. Misses it. Could have gotten that stock if, he hit that. But, I mean, sometimes you just got to take what you can. It happens. And now Aspara kind of struggling against Rosie K, who has found their footing with that back air, finally getting stage control. And all of a sudden, the momentum has shifted from Rowan Gold to Ramapo A, quickly being stopped right there and smuggled out by Aspara's boost kick.
So what are you seeing here from Apsara that's making their offense so potent against a character that is considered to be almost meta-defining in Pythra?
I feel like Aspara is so quick with finding out a lot of options that Rosie K is going for, especially jumps, catching it out with that back air, and these uppers as well. Aspara is abusing their advantage state super well and trying to make the most out of it, get the most percentage off, and that's what's kept them in the lead, really, even though Rosie K has been fighting back very valiantly. No matter what, Aspara has been in the lead, and that's what's helping him. And Rowan Gold potentially trying to read the jump once again, not going to get it. Finally gets that side B, but if you're Aspara, you got to find the stock. You got to play a little bit more carefully, because Rosie K has been able to punish very well, looking for the forward air, not going to connect.
And now, as we're seeing, just trying to get this last stock off, but a lot more even than perhaps the start of the game would have indicated. Rosie K doing quite a bit in order to get themselves back into this one, but goodness gracious me, Jellyfish.
Yeah, I was talking about consistency when it came to Aspara, but when you're missing all these, confirms and potential stocks, we've seen that twice already from Aspara. So could this potentially cost Aspara the lead and potentially the stock, or will Rosie K be open and susceptible to Aspara's offense and lose the stock right here. Who knows? There you go. Finally gets that back air. And Rowan Gold with a stock lead going into the next match. And honestly, if I'm Aspara, I think I could have done much better there. There's so many instances where we saw an up smash, we saw an uppy potentially punish an option that Rosie K was just throwing out. Because Rosie K was, throwing out so many hitboxes that it was so easy for Aspara to read onto that and catch onto that to, get so many punishes. But it doesn't matter if you read the punish if you aren't hitting it,
Exactly, and that's the rough thing about it. That we almost saw it come back to bite Apsara, as you mentioned. That the missed boost kick. Oh,
it hurts
man.
every time.
It could have been something that you would have ruined for quite some time, especially out of the confirm. That was almost really bad, but Apsara is going to get away with one as Ramapo is going to discuss strategy. You have quite a bit of talent from which to choose. I mean, Vernius, very good player in their own right. I don't know if you really want to be putting Pit up against ZSS necessarily, or the Kirby for that matter. But yeah, looks like, oh my goodness, is it? Hang on, let me check my watch. Oh my gosh, it's actually BD Bean o'clock.
Oh no. Okay, here we go. Okay, so could we potentially see the Sword Fighter or the Wario? It really depends, because BD Bean has been, honing both of those characters pretty well. And again, BD Bean is pretty much the captain of Ramapo, so he's got to represent. He realizes that maybe Aspara is a player that, you could potentially just wash out, and that BD Bean is going to be kind of like your tank, your carry, in a sense where he's going to try and get as many stocks as possible to give his team a buffer. And I mean, who better than BD Bean, honestly, to do that job for you?
Exactly, and it's talking about someone who has been PR'd in New Jersey, who has done it all, more or less, and one of those players that you cannot underestimate by any stretch of the imagination. So now, as we are going to get into it, at this game, with this one stock lead, excuse me, BD Bean, the whole idea of this is to just even it up, get it done with. You don't even have to work with a real with a full stock really.
Yeah,
they're going to count themselves in, and
again, if you're Aspara, you're gonna try and find at least a stock, or potentially, make BD Bean, go for a bad option off stage or on stage, get a punish, and then get as much percentage as possible. But if there's any character that does well against punishes and just making the most out of it, it's Wario. That Nair is such a volatile move that does so much damage and follows up to so many. You've seen it from players like Plutoni and as well as Haven, a New Jersey and Rutgers, product. So I mean, BD Bean really moving really well and playing super aggressive against Aspara.
Yeah, and now it's you're gonna be looking for it. You have to think that Waft is coming, because it is still. I know that people say that it's nerfed, but it's still one of the more powerful options that Wario has, and the right man can do the right things with it. So you're seeing now BD Bean making themselves elusive as well, hard to hit until just there off of the stage. And it's a tough go of it if you are Apsara. But, oh, look at that.
Ouch.
Tough stuff, but you had to know that it was coming eventually.
Yeah, I mean, that dash attack is such a strong move that, is very, very good on ledge because of that lingering hitbox. But, I mean, Aspara pretty much is dying to the fact that ZSS is super light, and, maybe some questionable DI could be asked there. But, hey, BD Bean, clutching it up, finally making it even like he was supposed to do. And so now you have to somehow send someone into BD Bean, and that in itself is a struggle. Because we're talking about a Wario in New Jersey that has been, potentially PR and has been PR'd. So, I mean, like, what characters do you think, would be good against Wario to potentially not only take out BD Bean, but also, prepare for a counter pick from Ramapo, Stu?
That is an awful good question. I mean, anything that gives you an advantage in terms of range, because you want to be keeping Wario out. The good thing about Wario is that you're playing more of like, you're not doing sheet music, you're doing jazz, right? There's a lot of room for improvisation. There's a lot of room. You're not necessarily working off of a flow chart. you're just kind of going with the flow of the game, right? So
Mhm.
anything that can disrupt momentum, anything that can stop Wario in their tracks, and it really, as long as you're able to get Wario to commit jumping through air, because obviously you have some really good moves, especially descending upon an opponent, rushing down through the air. But if you can control the neutral space, if you can catch them with anti-airs, if you can make them commit to jumping so that you can take advantage of it yourself, then that seems like a way to go. So if anyone has a
Ooh.
pocket cloud or something like that, now might be the time to pull it out, just so you can cheese stocks off of BD Bean. And it looks like Rowan has indeed made their choice.
Yeah, so they're actually, I believe this is Gray, and he is a me gunner, a very solid defensive player that's also not afraid to, go in and use forward air for movement, trying to catch his opponent with up air. So we're talking about a character that, has a lot of projectiles that Wario can't really go around besides potentially Bike. So we're talking about a defensive wall against a very aggressive player in BD Bean.
Yeah, and it should be interesting to see how it all plays out, but I don't know, man. This is you kind of need to do that, right? Because
Yeah.
it's this is Wario, the unstoppable force. You need to present an immovable object.
Mhm.
Anything that challenges BD Bean to keeping their feet on the ground, and anything to, again, disrupt the momentum, right? And nothing disrupts
Exactly.
momentum quite like running into a brick wall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're talking about grenades. You're talking about, that down B, the potential, the bomb that can be hit back with, forward tilts, even, up tilt and whatnot. It really does depend on what setup Gray is going to go for. And Me Gunner really isn't a character that you're going to be used to playing. But this is BD Bean we're talking about. We've seen his Me Sword Fighter, so maybe he has something up his sleeve that we don't know about.
And it will be interesting to see exactly how Gray is able to answer the challenge. 3-3-3 to Me Gunner, as again, just trying to throw out whatever hitboxes they possibly can, tack on the damage. You might as well. I mean, even nickel and dime damage is good enough. You got yourself enough nickels and dimes jellyfish, you're gonna wind up with $1 eventually.
Exactly, and maybe potentially more, because we're not talking about pennies. We're talking about, stuff that, is worth a little bit more, and all this chip damage that BD Bean is doing is worth a lot, especially against a character like Me Gunner, where you're not going to be able to get in and get your combos off, because if Gray's playing this perfectly, he's going to keep BD Bean at bay, looking for the up air. Very, very smart option. Fortunately, not connecting it, but BD Bean is doing a good job, not only reflecting those down Bs, but also trying to get in, getting a raw hit off, getting a dash attack, not going to kill just yet. But BD Bean super close to finding that stock. In fact, Gray as well.
Yeah, now seeing Gray doing a decent job of keeping things relatively even, and now, yeah, caught him with the up smash. You're talking about those anti-air options. This is what Gray has been looking for. Catch him jumping, anything to commit frames.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Gray is playing this matchup super well, actually comboing out of that neutral B with a Nair. So, I mean, you're seeing, a very, very good Me Gunner go up against BD Bean, who might not have that matchup experience that, you'd have against, per se, a different zoner like Young Link or even Falco. So this is a tough match, and Gray's making sure that it stays tough, keeping the stock, taking another one, and the taunts on from Gray. I mean, hey, man, if you're Gray, you got to play mind games, right? You're already doing that with Me Gunner. Finally, BD Bean getting an answer, but is it too late?
That is an awful good question, and yeah, you kind of like the sauce that you're seeing from Gray, right? The ability to taunt in the face of all that. And even though B was able to answer back relatively quickly, that is a challenge. That's a gauntlet that you really don't want BD Bean picking up. I don't know. There is such a thing as getting lost in the sauce here.
Yeah, and getting, the classic combo of taunts get bodied. But, I mean, Gray, again, defensive awareness and just keeping himself out of harm's way against a character like Wario, but you know that BD Bean is searching for this kill as soon as possible. With these Nairs approaching, getting the waft, and all of a sudden we are down to last stocks from both players. BD Bean can still make this happen, whether or not he wants to wait for Waft to come back or not, or maybe, you know, get that raw dash attack that we've seen, straight hits that we were talking about earlier to potentially take the stock and clutch up against Gray, who has been playing super well.
Yeah, now we're going to keep on rolling through with it. Again, unstoppable force, immovable object. Who wins out here? That's a tough question to answer at this juncture because I don't know, man. I'm kind of liking the way that BD Bean is making this happen.
Yeah, but here we go. That's the struggle against me, Gunner, is just staying on ledge, getting that neutral beat. Oh, BD Bean not teching and not able to come back. I don't even think the bike would have saved him there, but Gray doing a little bit of a pop-off right there, and well-deserved. I mean, if you're BD Bean, right, and you're just that close, and you miss techs like that, which is very uncharacteristic, that's got to, you know, play a big part in who's going to be going in next, because me, Gunner, is a super, you know, stress-inducing and, you know, a very patient character you have to play against that goes against your mental game so much. So if you have that strength mentally, then I think you can take out Gray. But when you see one of your star players go out like that, the morale's definitely low for your college, you know?
Yeah, that's a rough one. But then again, it's you got to be a decent team.
Exactly.
So I don't know what the deal is with Ramapo, but you still have talent on the back end. BD Bean wasn't your only piece, though. You certainly wanted to get more out of BD Bean than perhaps you did. I got to think that it was just the right counter pick, right? Yeah. It was just the right counter pick. Rowan did a really good job realizing that the Mii Gunner, perhaps one of the blind spots in BD Bean's cachet of knowledge. And even though you have Mii Gunners, don't get me wrong, but maybe nothing quite like what you're seeing presented here, as Rowan was more than happy to exploit.
Yeah, and I feel like BD Bean adapted to Gray a little bit too late, because you saw, you know, that Waft come out and really set, you know, kind of change the pace of that match. Gray had that, you know, initial lead of 2 stocks, catching BD Bean, you know, not adapting quickly. And that's the thing with crew battles, is that if you want to be a very good team player, and just in general a very good crew battle player, your adaptability has to be so quick, and you have to think of so many things off the fly. And hey, we're having a Gray battle right now between Gray and Dr. Gray of Ramapo, who's going to be sent in to potentially eliminate Gray, who could be a problem for Ramapo should they not be able to extinguish this fire.
Yeah, should be a problem. But Dr. Gray, again, pretty decent player in their own right. You're not talking about like the star players, but you're going to need to rely on someone. Your stars can't score every night. You know, you're not going to always get something out of Jack Hughes. You're going to need to get something out of your third liners, right?
Exactly.
So it might be a tough ask, but then again, if you're not going to be able to do it in these early rounds, when are you going to be able to pull it out?
And you're talking about, you know, third-string players you know very well from the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, Nick Foles is a very good example of, you know, having a cohesive team that when you have to, you know, go to your backup players, they're going to perform. They're going to shine. And we're going to see a Samus here. So we're going to see Zoner get counterpicked with a Zoner. And, I mean, Gray doesn't have a reflector or, you know, that magnet or energy absorber. So we could see Dr. Gray potentially cancel out a lot of these projectiles with projectiles of his own and immediately going for that down B to potentially counter those missiles from Gray. Good damage, 33% right off the bat.
Gotta like it here. I mean, is that the main stratagem going here? Is this basically they're starting out as they mean to continue on? Because I don't know, it seems like you could provide a little bit more of a varied thing, because Samus does have halfway decent tilts.
Oh yeah, very least. Yeah, and you provide a good point where like these players or these teams are planning, you know, way ahead of time, just gaining that lead immediately, and then, you know, trying to tank it out with the later matches. Should they, you know, have like a 5-stock lead, 6-stock lead, whatever lead it is, they're gonna, you know, be able to say, hey, if we send in a player, it's okay, you know, if they don't do well, because we have this huge buffer, this huge cushion. So, I mean, both of these players sending out zoners pretty early in crew battles usually isn't the right idea, but it's certainly working for Gray right now as he takes a stock off of Dr. Gray.
Yeah, and Gray doing a decent enough job of keeping the Samus at bay. If it becomes a bullet hell for both players, you got to think that the one who's a more varied projectile thrower is going to win out. But then again, it's not always the case, is it? Your bombs move differently. Your big old beams move differently. You have to account for how your opponent is going to move, and really the ease to which you can catch out their options, and whether or not you have to do it with buttons, therefore putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, speaking of putting yourself at risk, when you're off stage against me, Gunner, especially Gray, who has been doing so well with ledge trapping, you know, just getting so much damage off of down B, of neutral B, and, you know, of missiles, catching out jumps off of ledge, rolls, all these neutral get-ups. So many options are covered by these projectiles, and that's the thing with me, Gunner, against Samus, is that Samus can't really move around with their projectiles as well as me, Gunner, where, you know, you have a missile where you can just jump and move. You have a neutral B where you can go forward and backwards, you know, forward and retreat. That's what makes me Gunner so difficult to play against. Their movement with their projectiles is what makes them so difficult to play against.
Yeah, and this me Gunner putting in the work could very well be the MVP for this set, as we're going to continue on. Gray on the cusp of victory, perhaps, at 98%. Dr. Gray struggling against this me Gunner. They are getting checked and checked hard. Misses on the grab. That was punishable, perhaps, but it is going to be the down B the down smash that eventually does it, and Dr. Gray puts out the fire. But Gray, holy smokes, saying 3 ain't enough, man. I need 5, and takes just that many off of Ramapo. The job has been done.
Yeah, we're talking about 5 stocks, a 5-star performance from Gray in this crew battle. Again, we're seeing that defensive play from Gray kind of just shine and show in this match against Dr. Gray, who didn't have, you know, a lot of ideas as to what to do when coming back on the stage. And so Gray made the most of that matchup inexperience that I was talking about earlier when he was facing BDB. That definitely helped out Gray take out more stocks than I think Ramapo would have liked. And I mean, 5 stocks is definitely a lot. So we're going to see Rowan Gold bring in. I know this is a Greninja player, but I don't know the name of the player. But they are very good. Last time I saw them in the Collegiate Smash in the tournament, I believe they got top 8 or at least top 16. So they're a very good player coming out for Rowan.
Greninja is certainly one of those characters that can give zoners trouble, and that's what you need, right? You need to be able to break the zone. So if Greninja is going to be able to do that, and also provide some tools of their own in terms of things like water shuriken and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think that you might be sitting pretty. So the pink Greninja going to be pulling it out, and yeah, we'll have to see how well they fare as we go to PS2 for this one.
Yeah, what makes Greninja so good in this is not only is Greninja a quick character to kind of just rush in and kind of choke out Samus, it's the fact that his counter can pretty much hit any projectile and hit from anywhere. You know, Greninja counter is definitely one that is slept on a lot, and people don't respect it a lot. So when the option gets thrown out, you got to be very careful. And speaking of careful, Dr. Gray has to be very wary of how they're landing, because Sickle has been on point with these juggles with up air. Okay, so yeah, I mean, again, Sickle is playing super well defensively, trying to charge up these shurikens. Dr. Gray trying to evade as much as possible. The air dodge could have costed him a lot. Good dash attack from Dr. Gray. But is that going to help him at all? Gets the uppy out of shield. That's going to help him dish out not only a little bit of damage, to get him out of harm's way, just to get off me tool from Dr. Gray. You got to be careful. Those water shurikens can hit from below ledge. Good dash attack from Gray, sending him off stage, looking for the forward air to take this stock. If Gray can find the stock, that's going to help out so much. But Sickle finds it instead, gets that stock, and now Sickle has provided Rowan a player advantage with a 9-6 lead, and that's going to be so important against a team like Ramapo, where we've seen them have so much chemistry, so much cohesion in their squad. So we might see Vernius come out, like Stu mentioned earlier, with his pit. But yeah, let's just go back to this match. Again, I feel like Dr. Gray didn't really have an answer for how well Sickle was approaching getting all these stray hits. And again, these juggles really racked up the damage and ultimately caused Dr. Gray to lose that stock. One stock, you're going to go home with that. Not something you're going to be proud of, but definitely, you're repping your team pretty well against a good college like Rowan. So we're going to see Ramapo bring in their next player. Now, I am not too certain of who they play, but against a character like Greninja, you saw that a zoner wasn't going to work. So maybe you fight fire with fire. You bring in a Swordy. You bring in a rushdown character. You're keeping Vernius as your anchor, and that's solid. He's a good player. So this player spread from Ramapo, Arsene going to come out, maybe a Joker, maybe not. I could be wrong, but back to what I was saying. You're keeping a very solid player, one of, if not your second best player for your team as your anchor. You're going to be, that's a lot of trust you're putting into that guy. So if Arsene can just relieve some of that pressure off of Vernius, that could help Ramapo, mount a comeback against Rowan. 9-6 doesn't mean that you're out just yet, but you're close. You sure damn are close to it. So let's see what Arsene has to offer against Sickle.
Yeah, so Arsene against Arsene versus Sickle, it should be interesting because this Greninja, again, you didn't really get a chance to see a whole lot from them. But at the same time, looked decent enough, looked to be perfectly competent. What are you expecting the main point of contention to be for the Greninja? Because, I mean, it's not going to be a race, right? Like, It's not going to be super high-paced. It's a Robin, for goodness sake. You're not outpacing the Greninja.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what is it that you can do as Robin in order to perhaps break the spell that this frog has over the set?
Well, it's tough because, that could do it. That could break the spell. But, I mean...
It could do.
Well, never mind. I mean, Sickle answers back, so, I mean, does it matter? Not really. But, I mean, if you are Arsene, right, and you're playing against Sickle, who has, quite a lead for Rowan, you're forced now to kind of approach, kind of just potentially punish Sickle, who doesn't realize that, they have this lead, who can play patiently and just spam water shurikens that can combat a lot of projectiles that Robin has. Again, if Sickle isn't going to play patient, then Arsene's going to try and punish, play bait and punish with Robin when usually they play as a zoner. So definitely things to consider if you're Arsene.
Yeah, so now you're just throwing out all the spells. Why not? And see if some of them is bound to stick anyway, right? So you got that sword in your hand, and it's going to work out perfectly fine to the tune of that stock after the setup from the Hellfire.
Again? Almost getting that kill. Arsene almost getting hit, struck twice by that same exact combo that took out that first stock. But like you were saying, just getting these spells out, throwing out these hitboxes, and hoping and praying that they hit and that you could potentially lead off of it. That's what makes Robin such a crazy character, because you have, Arcfire that does not only so much damage, acts like a PK Thunder, but you can combo it into a very strong up smash with Levin's Sword. It doesn't matter if you don't have those in your arsenal because of the tomes and, that meter that you have, the durability of your weapons, and Sickle playing to that pretty well, letting Arsene kind of just waste all of their materials and getting that stock, punishing super well. So fair play to Sickle, who has quite the lead and potentially could find the stock right now if they play well. Oh,
yeah,
no,
and you the setup off of that, goodness gracious me, and we were looking for it. And I think they found it. You got to put them in the blender, and sometimes it just works out like that. The Greninja able to survive, and the Robin, the recovery simply not there. All of a sudden, absolutely dire straits for Ramapo.
Yeah, unfortunate right there from Arsene, who I feel like he was playing super well, punishing a lot of Sickle's approaches, but I feel like Sickle was just a little bit too much with how they approached and, got their damage off. These up air drag downs are definitely what costed Arsene a lot of damage. And right there, that SD ultimately finishing him off. And the score right now 7-3. Rowan, you know, with 2 players still on deck, and of course Sickle, who could potentially still do a lot more damage. And finally, we're seeing Vernius come out. And I was talking about it earlier. You're saving, you know, one of, if not your best players as your anchor. There's a lot of pressure, but we've seen it before. Vernius has been able to make these comebacks happen. We saw it at King 2023. If anybody remembered from last time out, Vernius was able to make a comeback for Ramapo and actually win it as an anchor, and I believe he had to go through 3 players to be able to do that. So Vernius is no stranger to this situation. Whether or not he's going to be able to perform, though, that is the question.
3, 2, 1, go!
So we get started a little bit. I don't think so. Yeah, Sickle needs to SD right there. SD 2 stocks, of course, and Vernius with that hit, well known for it actually. And we're gonna get potentially Ramapo's last match on stream right now if Vernius isn't able to take the stock. And it may only be 1 stock, but we saw earlier from Gray that he was, you know, able to make 1 stock turn into 5 stocks, or, you know, 2 extra stocks. So whether or not Vernius can find this answer or not, like find a comeback, really just does depend on his mental capacity. All right, so Vernius playing pretty defensively, just waiting for Sickle to make 1 mistake, and that's what makes Pit so good, is just all these multi-hits from Fair, Nair. They lead up to each other, and Vernius is, you know, being able to hit his downers as well to follow up. A lot of follow-ups from Vernius could help him. Oh, gets the reflector. Oh, and the spike to take that stock. Vernius finally getting some wind in the back of his wings. And Sickle gonna be knocked out. Rowan down to 2 players. Again, like I said before, Vernius has been in this situation before. So whether or not he has the ability and the endurance to be able to beat out Rowan's next 2 players, that's 6 stocks. That's a lot, but that will make him the MVP. And look at that down there. Following up from the reflected shuriken. Getting that stock definitely helped him out, but Vernius, I mean, now if you're Rowan, right, you have two players on deck that could potentially counterpick Pit. Whether or not they know the Pit matchup, I don't know, because you don't see Pits often. That's the thing with that character. You just don't see him often enough. So Rowan trying to think. Oh, I got my boy Luminous in the back, just watching on his potential opponents. Vernius showing his guns. I guess Luminous and Vernius are, you know, woo! Hey, man, my girl's watching. I can't say much. Bro, they're both showing off. What can you say? But can those muscle Ramapo to a comeback? Who knows? Again, Vernius, a solid player. We're just waiting on Rowan to get their counter pick going, and it looks like we have found it. Now, I mean, if you're going up against Pit, I feel like you need a character that is able to have a lot of out-of-shield options, because if Vernius is approaching a lot with their multi-hits like Nair and Fair, Snake, not bad. Hey, a character with a lot of out-of-shield options as well as very, very good projectiles to just, you know, close out a lot of approaches. Not only that, but keep yourself at bay from a character like Pit. So Hunter going to come in with his Snake. So, I mean, we've seen it before. You know, immovable wall versus unstoppable force in Vernius and, Hunter and Vernius respectfully. So Vernius already on the offensive, but Hunter being able to kind of answer back amply. Oh my god, that down air. Look for another down air. That's a stock, Vernius! You absolute madman! And that's what you have to go for. All these high risk, high reward options with a character like Pit, who Vernius knows very well can recover from distances like that. But now Hunter not letting Vernius approach, not letting that same mistake happen again, getting that down throw, doesn't get the down smash, misses the timing just a tad bit, and Vernius needs to get out of that corner, but unfortunately out of the stage as well into the blast zone with that C4. And that's the thing with Snake and playing against Snake, is that you have to be so aware of your surroundings at all times. And that grenade's actually going to play a huge role in just stopping Vernius from getting a lot of his combos. Again, you're seeing right there, getting that grab, but the grenade going to prevent it, but the down air into the up smash. Vernius on an absolute hot streak right now against Hunter. Now, can Vernius find the stock and potentially reduce the deficit from 7-3 to just 3-2? That would be absolutely crazy and so crucial for Ramapo in getting this comeback, getting that down air. Vernius is cooking right now. Got to give it some time. And this patience from Vernius. Can you even call it patience, Hunter? Oh, but there you go. There's the patience that I was talking about from Hunter, getting the up tilt off. Vernius down to our last stock. Gets that down smash, gets the 2-frame. Oh, but misses that. Hunter looking for that forward air to potentially end this soon. You do not want to give Vernius an opportunity to play another game, because Vernius has shown that they have the ability to just keep on going. Oh, looking for that down smash, doesn't get the right hit. Gotta watch out. You can't go up close against a character like Snake. And this is... Gotta watch out for that C4, which is set at the center. Oh, the up air, not gonna finish it off, but gets a little bit of damage off with the arrow. C4 coming out. You gotta watch out. Hunter's looking for the up tilt. Grabs from both players. Trying to play neutral to the best of the ability, and Vernius pulls the trigger a little bit too early, and Hunter getting the up tilt, where Vernius is so close to getting a comeback, so close to reducing the deficit. But unfortunately for Ramapo, Hunter gonna hunt his prey, and just like the Owls that Rowan are, finally gets that and win 4-0. So that's a huge win for Rowan against Ramapo A. You got to give credit to Vernius. That absolutely amazing performance from him right there. Finding all of these, stray hits, finding all of these situations where Hunter just was not ready for Vernius to get these setups, like you saw right there with the down air into the up smash. That's just good awareness from Vernius and good character knowledge. But yeah, Rowan Gold with a very well-deserved lead. Gray, of course, being your MVP, and Sickle as well, showing up. But I think that just comes down to matchup and experience. You're going up against a team that has a lot of zoners and a lot of different characters that you're not really expecting to see. And so, again, Rowan just showing up to one of these collegiate events and absolutely not really demolishing Ramapo, but definitely put a statement out there. So, again, really, really good stuff. If you guys want to check out Bracket, make sure to do the exclamation point Bracket.
Hey guys, so this is Kelvin, the producer. Just wanted to give you guys an update. There's some technical issues going on with Stu's mic and his video quality, so that's why he's missing right now. But he's going to get that fixed. We're going to go into a break, but first let's run some ads. I'm going to help you out, Jellyfish. I've never done this with you. So that's old. So we got the NJ Smash Circuit, July 9th to December 22nd, guys. So we have a bunch of locals in New Jersey that are a part of this. Oh, thank you for that. Hunter passing me my extension cord. But anyways, yeah, so we have a bunch of locals in New Jersey, a bunch of action that you guys should check out. At the end of this, we have a $2,500 prize pool for a finale event that we have hosted by Collision. So make sure to get registered on these locals and get on that board.
Absolutely. And if you guys, Kelvin talked about it, Collision running the NJ circuit. You got to go ahead and support, the Collision team. Kelvin, of course, being a part of that, keeping that, streams going. So follow our Twitch, maybe even give us a sub, follow our Twitter, and check out our YouTube where we post all of our VODs.
All right, and then we got Fusion. You guys already know. I don't have to say much. I host this event. I also stream for it. It's a wonderful local located in Rahway, New Jersey. We're located within a fucking arcade, guys. It's really large. It's really comfy space. You can do anything you want. There's food around the area. There's parking. Everything you'd want. So yeah, we have Ultimate. We got we also got a Buster Bracket that happens on the side. But yeah, guys, make sure to come out. Doors open at 6 p.m. Bracket starts at 7 every Monday. You know where we at.
Yes, sir. That arcade is crazy. But you know what's crazy? Xeno Weeklies every Wednesday with such a good entrance fee of $15. You guys got to check out House of 3000. That does so much for New York and just in general Tri-State. Check out their Twitter, their Match Arena, where you guys can help out with their prize pools and just general funding for them. And, I mean, are they, like, still banned on Twitter, which is, like, so stupid?
I'm pretty sure they are still banned on Twitter at this point. I don't think they're ever going to get it back, but we do still have Devin 3000's account active, so if any updates, make sure to go to him, and he'll make sure to tell you what's going on with Xeno.
Exactly. But yeah, like Kelvin said before, we are going to go on a short break as we wait for the rest of the crews to kind of just get their crew battles done. So with that said, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Get some water, get some, go to the bathroom and stuff, and we'll see you in a little bit.